Welcome to Wild, Women in Lending Determined to Make an Impact. I'm your host, Robin Lavasser. They say our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together. Welcome back to Wild with Robin Lavasser. I am so excited I'm going to share with you some insight from not only a book, but just some stories that have really hit home. And it's a topic that I talk about frequently. And that's really, part of the premise of Wild in general, which, sorry, boys, it's women in lending and leadership, determined to lean in, make a difference, make an impact. And that's really in my heart what I am so grateful that I learned to do over the years. But if I'm being really honest and really vulnerable, it's not easy. I don't think it's easier for men than women necessarily. I think they definitely are wired differently than women to lean in and to ask for what they want and how they want it. It's a simpler task. And so years ago, I read a book, and it's called Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. And there were so many great takeaways. I often mail that book out to people because it just really speaks to what our defaults are that I don't even think we realize, right? And it's not necessarily a terrible thing, but it's something to be aware of in terms of claiming our voice. I'll tell you a funny little story. I once had, during COVID, we needed to hire help into the office, and we quickly needed to add some processors, and we knew we weren't going to be able to find uber experienced people. And so we kind of went on a hunt with people that would at least have some sort of industry experience. And we were able to find a few, and they happened to apply, hence, trying to put our feelers out there. Two applied that both worked at the exact same credit union. They both did the exact same role at that credit union, and one was a male and one was a female. We interviewed both of them, and we really felt like we could train and grow and mentor and have value in both directions from hiring both of them. And so what's interesting is I sat in on the interview, and this is quite a few years ago, with my business partner and co-branch manager. And as we sat there, we asked them what they needed for wages. And ironically, the girl was first. It was not joint interviews, so they individually interviewed. And the girl literally said to us, gosh, this is what I make right now. I'd like to at least come close to that. Perfect. So we understood. Wage was okay. We were able to align with it. Then we interviewed the gentleman. I believe it was the next day. It doesn't matter that detail. And he immediately said, we said, what do you need for wage? He said, this is what I make. I need at least that, preferably $1 or $2 more in order to take the role. So when we got done, my partner and I, he's male, I'm female, we're sitting there, and he said, okay, we start to fill out the paperwork to get them both hired. And he put in the wages, not because he's a bad guy. He's not. He's incredible, with exactly what she asked for and exactly what he asked for. My heart sank. As a woman, my heart sank because I thought to myself, what a miss. And the truth is, women have these beautiful qualities of nurturing and thinking about others first. And the truth is, it's not super comfortable at all times to kind of lean in and quote unquote know our worth. And I don't even think the world is after trying to keep us small or not give us our worth, or, I'm not a victim to this reality, if you will. And I understand there are circumstances where that's actually the case. What I really think is that we struggle ourselves. We don't mind, and we crave and we want the recognition, but we struggle giving it to ourselves and understanding that we're worthy of that, right? That we really should lean in and use our voice. And so we end up paying them the exact same. And I talked to my partner and I was like, why would we pay them differently? We're going to pay them the exact same. And then I called the gal that we offered the job to, and I told her the story. And I said, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to use your voice. It's worthy. It's powerful. I need to hear you. Anything that you have ideas on, I need you to lean in. And I actually ended up giving her the book. And like I said, I often send that out. And so some of the things from the book, they tell a story about sit at the table, where Sheryl saw how women in a big executive meeting, she was, I believe, Google exec, and then went over to Facebook, sat at the back of the room, senior women, when Junior, in that status of the corporation, came and sat front and center at the table. Stop waiting for permission to take a seat and be okay with where you desire that seat to be. You need to walk in and say, hey, I belong at this table. I'm going to sit amongst where everybody else is and not wait for everyone else to take a seat. That's, you're not at, we're not at a dinner at, at our house. If we're out of room, my husband and I as the hosts are going to potentially stand if we're out of room for seats. But that's not what it is in business, right? You have to be willing to come in and sit and know my place is right here. And I'm willing to sit in my place so that I can contribute appropriately. Other things, speak up even if your voice shakes. I love this. Confidence is not always loud. A great metaphor for this is if you're a lion, you don't need to walk into a room and roar. People already know. Communication comes in a lot of forms, and one of them is just your confidence in general, your ability to walk into a room and somebody say, they clearly know their worth, their importance, their value. That's not saying I'm better than other people. It's saying I'm clear on who I am, why I'm here, and what I'm going to do. So even if your voice shakes, speak up. Contribution sometimes feels uncomfortable, but it is necessary. And so when you're asking for clarification, when you're giving your opinion, when you're willing to lean in and say, can I say something? Better yet, I have something to say when you're ready. And here's what happens sometimes with women, and it's where they get labeled in the emotions. And it even happens with men. You don't use your voice in whatever circumstance, but the voice is there. And so by the time you are using it, it's highly emotional. It's letting out all the other times that it was silenced by you potentially, and it's dying to speak. And so it comes out possibly over emotional, maybe even over dramatic, less clear. And so then we try to shove it back in. Using your voice consistently, but kindly and clearly and confidently makes a massive difference in how all of us communicate and present to other people. Done is better than perfect. Perfectionism is probably one of the biggest traps in general, especially in women. It's an incredible trap. Being over controlling, progress in general drives growth, and failure is progress. And you have to feel safe in, did I actually understand what I learned from that failure, right? But then I'm willing to move forward and have that ownership that makes things so powerful. But perfection is absolutely the opposite of progress in general. And so make sure that you are leaning in even with your voice, maybe not speaking things clearly, but being willing to use it and or communicating in general that you are a piece to the puzzle, right? You are a contributor to the team, to the elements, and that you are one of the pivotal people in that space. The other is, remember this, your voice can change a room. Your voice in general, one woman speaking up, one woman leaning in. I feel like for me, I watched multiple women before me, either on a stage. I'll never forget watching a gal on a stage stand up there and read off what she had closed previously, which were very similar to the numbers I was doing at the time and what she was now closing. And being a wife, she didn't have children yet, but she since then has had them. And I look at it and think, thank goodness her voice was on that stage that day, because it gave me permission to find more of mine. So you are meant to be seen. You are meant to be heard. It doesn't really matter if it's male or female, but women, again, often struggle with this more than anything. Your voice matters. You have to remember, do not shrink to fit into rooms, rise to shape them. Shape the definitions of your business, your family, your friendships, your own self, because you are willing to use your own voice. If you want to, I hope that you follow me on social media, Facebook and or Instagram and LinkedIn. In addition to that, I do a call every Friday. Majority of the time it's me teaching. Sometimes it's other people throughout our organization teaching, but I promise you it's a very valuable 45 minutes. It's called Scaling Your Skills, and it's live on screen, and anybody can join, whether they are in our company or outside of our company in lending. So we'd love to see you on that. And I'm always willing to do at a minimum a 15-minute coaching call with anybody who's looking for it. And so I'm going to do a little plug here and say, if you are bold enough to lean into your voice, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. Feel free to even shoot me a text message. It's pretty easy to find all of my information online. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to get to know you. I would love to give you a little coaching and hopefully add some value to your life and impact to this business. If this was helpful, I hope you share it. We'll see you soon.